Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Whole Perspective. My name is Kevin Delory. As always, joined by my right-hand man, good friend, Senior Vice President Kenny Phillips. Today, we have a special guest host today. You might recognize him. It's Keith Russell. I actually first met Keith Russell when the Patriots were going to play the Dolphins, and everyone was wearing Squish the Fish shirts. Keith was wearing a Miami Dolphins shirt. He was about 15 at the time. Me and my buddies chased him down to the train tracks and beat the crap out of him. Without further ado, we're going to let this is weird for me. I'm the only non-Dolphins fan here. But Kenny, without further ado, if you'd introduce Mark, that'd be great.
Absolutely. He's a Miami Dolphin legend, a member of the Miami Dolphin Honor Roll alongside other greats like Dan Marino, Mark Dupa, Larry Zonker, and Jason Taylor. 5-time NFL Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL receiving touchdown leader. He set the single-season touchdown record in 1984 as one of 3 receivers to date with 18-plus touchdowns. The other 2 are Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. He's a Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, and I'm sure soon to be sent to kin in the NFL Hall of Fame, my buddy Mark Clayton.
Welcome, Mark.
Brother.
Thank you, guys. Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, we all are about mindset, and no one has a better mindset than a lot of the pro athletes. In a upcoming episode, we'll have Merrill Hodge on, and he said something the other day, and I wanted to get your take on this. And, in our market right now, and in our industry, times are a little tough, and people cry in their Cheerios and say, "Whoa, me." But you're a guy that, coming out in 1983, you're on the bench, you're returning punts to become one of the greatest receivers of all times. How do you have that mindset to say, I'm going to sit here, I was drafted in the 8th round, I'm going to wait my turn because I know when I get in? How did you get through every day of that first year of saying, when's my shot? When do I get in the game?
Well, Kevin, it goes back really even before I got down to Miami. It kind of like started out when I was in high school, and was playing, had a great high school career. But when it come time for to go off to school, I was overlooked right then because coming out of high school, I only got 2 scholarship offers coming out of high school, Indiana State and Louisville. I felt like that I was so productive that I could have gone anywhere in the country. I had the grades to go anywhere in the country, but yet and still, I think people really just looked at my physical stature and thought like, this guy, he's not a football player. Because coming out of high school, my senior year, I was about $150, soaking wet with rocks in my pockets. So a lot of people just thought that I couldn't play the game and just really was looking at my size. So it started out with that chip on my shoulder kind of early in my career per se. Then I got to Louisville, and it's the same thing kind of really start happening there too. But all these things that happened to me, that they were really motivational factors for me. Because coming out of Louisville, I was second in the nation in total yards. I averaged almost 21 yards a catch for my career in Louisville. But yet and still, I don't get to play in any of the postseason bowl games for seniors, like the East-West Shrine, the Blue Gray game, the Senior Bowl. I didn't really get to play in any of that to really enhance my stock value. So I end up they had 2 combines coming out at that time. When I came out, one in Detroit, one in Tampa. I went to just the one in Tampa, and it really I didn't help my cause at all when I got to that one combine, because I ran, I think, one of the slowest 40s in the whole combine. I ran like a 4.6, but I had amazing shuttle times. I was like one of the fastest guys in the shuttle, so my lateral quickness was on point up there, on par with the best of the best. But it really didn't enhance my stock value there, because I ended up going in the 8th round. So was a little ticked off about that. But I've always felt that, like, hey, it's not where you go, because you can go in the last round and still, that doesn't mean that you're not a football player. But I just used all those motivational skill factors that went against me my whole career. So I just wanted a chance when I got down there, Kevin. So I really kind of like busted my behind running down on special teams, because I was like to not made the team at all, really, because my first preseason game coming out of the gate, we played Dallas in Dallas, and I muffed a couple kickoffs, muffed a couple of punts. ran the wrong routes. Dan tried to get cute and audible, ran the wrong route. So my career kind of really didn't start off the way I would have liked it to. But I just busted my behind, the rest of the training camp, because when I saw that guys that got drafted somewhere before me and veterans that were on the team before I got there, that they were getting released, because I thought that once I got drafted that I was on the team. I didn't know you had to make the team. So I busted, after that terrible first preseason game, I busted my behind, jumped in my playbook, learned everything I felt like I needed to know to really give myself a fair chance of making the ball club. So I was running down on the special teams in the preseason games. I hadn't really played special teams since high school. I was running down on kickoff. I was the ball guy. I was the flyer on the punt team. They had me back there returning punts. They had me returning kickoffs. I hadn't returned punts or kickoffs since high school. So I just was willing just to do any and everything, really, just to give myself just a fair shake, just to make that team. And everything kind of worked out just fine, because after that first terrible preseason game, I end up leading the team in special teams tackles that rookie season, and end up making the team. And as they say, the rest is history. And after I had made the team, some of the sports writers they had asked me, after the final roster was made, they was asking me, was this a dream? And I told them no, because I really didn't even consider the NFL. I never really thought anything about the NFL until my junior year of college. And my position coach, Richard Mann, who went on to leave us at that time and went to coach for the Baltimore Colts at that time. And he sat me down and he told me that, he said, son, if you keep your mouth closed and you bust your butt and work your behind off, he said, I'm going to see you up there playing and where I'm going and stuff. And so that's when I really start thinking about the NFL. Then at that time, I closed my mouth, I started busting my behind, and I worked my behind off. And like I said, man, they say the rest is history. And then the guy said, one of the reporters asked me, said, since it wasn't a dream of yours, are you surprised that you made it? And I said, no, I'm not surprised. They said, well, how can you not be surprised? I said, I'm not surprised because of the work that I put in, and I expected that. I feel like that if you put work into whatever you're doing, that the sky's the limit for you, and it's not a surprise when things happen for you. You don't hope they happen. You expect them to happen when you put in the time and the work that I did. So that's how it is. I just wanted an opportunity to really showcase my talent, and Coach Shula gave me that chance, and I took advantage of it.
I love it, man. It's the ultimate story, and it's what we preach here to anyone that works for us. It's you put the time and effort in, good things will happen. No matter the situation you're dealt, you just keep moving. You just keep moving forward. Progress every day will get you there. It's the people that say, whoa, me. You could have said, oh, man, this isn't what I signed up for. I want to be a wide receiver. Why am I over here, leading the team in tackles and special teams? This sucks. But you kept pushing and pushing, and that work ethic, which Kenny, I know Kenny has a good question about that. So
no, it's funny. I've known you a long time and watched you play, and to hear that story, I didn't know that part of it. I always assumed that you got on the field, and Kevin told me this morning, he was on the bench. I said, no. As far as I knew, when I was 9 or 10 years old and I was a true Dolphin fan, he was a starter. It was Clayton, Dupa, and Marino. So it's good to hear that. I talked to Mel Phillips this morning.
Coach.
And he said one of the hardest working guys in practice. He said, for the defenders who had to line up with you day in, day out, he said they knew they had work to do. And I was kind of impressed. And he said, he was always prepared. Talk about getting prepared. What did you do? Because in our business, we talk about our client before we get in front of our client, knowing who your client is. So you had to know your opposition.
No question.
Mentally prepared for those. And what was that the difference maker made you great?
Well, you're right. Absolutely, Ken. You gotta know exactly, what you're going up against, man. And you always got to give yourself a chance by being overly prepared. You can never be prepared enough to go out and really kind of accomplish some of the things that you want to accomplish. So I did a lot of film work, and I gotta give up a lot of credit to a teammate of mine that was so very unselfish with his knowledge, man. Nat Moore, man, I don't think that without his unsavory sacrifice and unselfishness, that I don't believe I would have had the career, or Duper would have had the career that we had, because he was so unselfish with his knowledge. And Nat was a very good receiver within itself. So I listened to everything that he was really trying to teach us. So he had been there. Was a seasoned veteran, so I know he knew the ropes. So no better guy than to listen to than Nat Moore. So he really kind of helped me get on the track for preparation on what it really took to be an NFL wide receiver.
Wow,
which is outstanding, and in our business, as Kevin says and Kenny says as well, that is so important. Having a mentor that in whatever you do, right? You having a mentor that you can look up to, can help you along the way, and help you become the best at what you do. Mark, I'd like to ask, you played for what many consider to be the greatest coach of all time in the NFL, NFL's winningest coach of all time still, in Don Shula. How would you describe his leadership style and his impact on your success as a player?
Oh man, Coach Shula was second to none, as far as like really, you knew he knew what he was doing because he had been doing it for so long. So anything that he was willing to dish out to the guys, everybody was latching on to it, like there was no tomorrow. But Coach Shula would always have you prepared. We may have gotten beat, but it wasn't going to be from lack of preparation. I think that Coach Shula right there, he would have you so prepared that he was always very, on top of the game. He's always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. And Coach Shula just was always paid attention to the detail. He was very detail oriented. And I think that, like I said, that's something I really don't think that he gets a whole lot of credit for, of having us so well prepared at all times. Like I said, we may lose the game, but it wasn't because we wasn't prepared for the game. So and he's tough, man, tough coach, old school coach. But when you had the success that he had, then you got to really just take that toughness as tough love and stuff, because it was all, and when he got on you, it was all constructive criticism. So he wanted to put you in this position to succeed because he had the confidence in you. So he was going to make sure that you really succeeded. He was going to be out there playing for him.
See, guys, tough love. That's all it is. I give you guys tough love. It's like I call me Shula from now on. But I got a fun question to ask, because I was reading this morning, and Keith Simpson said he's some athlete, but sometimes his mouth runs faster than his feet. What you do to get under his skin? I gotta know.
Well, I never got under his skin. In any kind of relationships in life, that nobody's going to see eye to eye at all times. No one. So, but I respected him from his point of view, but I wanted him to really kind of really take my perspective, and say, hey, maybe there is another way of going about it, to at least consider it and stuff. So, I've never really been one to really kind of really hold my tongue. If I feel something, I'm going to say it. So, I never really got under his skin. A lot of people thought that I really got under Coach Shula's skin, but it wasn't that I got under his skin on purpose. We just didn't agree on everything, and nobody agrees on everything in life.
Right.
Good point. Good point. So the elusive Hall of Fame, it's the big question. It's the win, and I think it's well deserved, obviously, with the numbers that you put up and a lot of things that I've read. You said you played 80 games, 80 less games than a lot of these receivers, and your numbers were still comparable. One, how important is, I probably answer that question, but 2, how do you compare the NFL 83 to 94 to today and the statistics?
Well, I feel like I very much deserve that, based on the numbers say that, and my mouth just can say anything. I feel like I tell people all the time, people lie, numbers don't lie. So I feel like I deserve that accolade. And hey, I don't know why they keep stats if they're not going to go by the numbers. So I feel like that's why they do keep the stats.
Right.
So, but that's out of my control right now. I'd be more than happy to accept that call or knock on the door as they do now, if they come. But in due time, if it's for me, it shall be. And that's how I look at it. And comparing the game from when I came into it to the game today, totally different ball game. I think that they are really kind of like on top of player safety more so now than they was when I played, because guys, seen a lot of people getting their heads knocked off. I played in that era, as you guys know, where there was no such thing as a defenseless receiver. The ball could be waved, thrown 10 yards over your head. They still clock you, let you know that I'm going to be here. But I love that. I love that physicality of the game. I can really say that I played 11 seasons. I had no surgeries. I missed probably maybe about 8 games in my whole career, and I think that's a badge of honor based on the physicality of the league in its state then. But now these guys right here, if I played in this era today, I know I catch well over 100 passes every year. And along with those 100 passes, I would catch double-digit touchdowns as well too. Some of these guys, they're great players now. They catch a lot of passes now. But man, the ultimate goal is to get in that end zone, man.
Right.
And you can catch 100 passes, but there's no way you should have single-digit touchdowns. That's just my opinion. I still am a fan of the NFL today, but totally different ball game today than it was back then.
One of the things I'd like to throw out that a lot of people don't realize, Mark, is your 15.4 yards per catch over your career is better than Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss, just to name a few. So, that's something that really stands out amongst all the numbers that stand out for you and what you did, throughout your NFL career. Speaking of today's game, I actually have a special shout out to Ian Berger. He is a fan of the year for the Miami Dolphins. He's also known as the Big E. Thank you, Big E, for this question. Do you see any qualities that you and Duper had in the current duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for the Dolphins today?
No question. I mean, complete similarities on all accounts. Those guys all three of those guys were way faster than me. Those guys, those Waddle and Hill, they have very similar statures, and I mean, play-wise, ability-wise, man, those guys are very, very good players. I mean, I think the sky's the limit for those guys, man. I'm glad those guys are doing well, because when they do well, then our names are in people's mouth, which I like, can't hurt me. So they're good. They're good guys, man. They were brought up right, very humble young men. They know the history of the game. They know who Duper and I was and what we did. And I can't help but cheer for those guys, man. Those guys are very good players, and I think the sky's the limit for those guys.
I'll tell you, my 13-year-old son Matthew loves the Dolphins and the current team. Loves watching those two wide receivers, and I showed him a couple clips of you, and he said, "Wow!" He goes, "That guy's shifty. He is shifty. He gets in and out. He breaks tackles." He goes, that guy is incredible. I said, "You don't know how good he was." But he said he thought that there were some big similarities with you to Jalen Waddle. So
no question. I out of the two guys, I think that my game patterns, his game patterns exactly similar to mine. I think he's a shiftier guy than Tariq, even though Tariq, he's shifty too now, man. That's, something that I kind of think that he has over Duper more shiftiness than Duper, but they both had the same kind of speed. But unbelievable shiftiness. I mean, both of them. I like Waddle's game. I mean, really a lot.
This too was funny. I was listening to a Jordan Peterson clip this morning, and it's about business. It's about, your passion and being, if you're not engaged in something, if your heart's not in it, don't do it. And I was reading when I was doing some research, you said a couple of things that really stood out to me, especially in business, because a lot of people watch this to get, hey, what can I be doing different? And it was about heart and team first. And you had a couple quotes, and you don't play football on size, you play it on heart. And the other was, talk is one thing, but winning is what it's really all about. You put the victories before your own personal success, and you put the team's success ahead of your own. And those are two things in business. I think some people get caught up. And even when I was a younger guy in our current business, I was, it was all about me and how do I get, how do I make more? How do I get more success? How does everyone look at me? But when you really want to be successful, and this probably took me 5 years to click in my brain, it was all about how does everyone on the team win? How do I help others win? And how do I make sure what I'm doing is what I love doing? Because if I don't love doing it, just like Jordan Peterson said today, if you don't love doing something, if you don't have the mindset and it's not in your heart, and you don't believe in it, go find something else to do. So, how did you every day show up and say, look, I got the desire. I want to win. You wanted that Super Bowl ring. You wanted to, you didn't want the Patriots to squish the fish. You wanted to win that game. Sorry, Keith, I had to go there. But but you keep that mindset even after an 8-8 season and come out and be like, listen, this is the year, and you put team first, man. Like, how do you, stay away from getting it down that it's easy to get down to say, hey, it's all about me and let the ego take over. We all have signs at our door, no egos allowed, hang up your ego before you enter our office. How did you do that day in and day out? Because it was easy when everyone's asking for your autographs, saying he's the best receiver in the league. How'd you show up every day and just make the team first and not let it go to your head?
Well, first of all, this is the sport I played is not an individual sport. So first of all, I couldn't have done what I did without the other 10 guys out there doing their jobs as well. So that's how I kept it all in perspective. I'm giving you the whole perspective.
There you go.
No, man, this was a team sport, man. Nobody accomplishes anything playing football on their own. That's just not feasible. It's not going to happen. And as far as you saying putting your whole total being and heart into whatever you do, I tell my kids, that's why I have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. None of my boys played football, sports, period, but I didn't put that pressure on them because I told them that I wanted them to pursue their own dream. And I said, whatever you do or choose to do it with passion and be the best of whatever it is that you do. And if you do it with passion and you feel like you're the best at and putting in the best at what you're doing, I think that you will be successful. Whatever you do, just got to do it with passion and feel like that you're giving it your all. Just like after games, when we lost games, I hated to lose. But I used to go and when I'm take my shower and I'm in the mirror, after the game, maybe comb my hair, whatever, I always was able to ask myself one question: did you give it your all? And if I could say yes to that every time, then there's nothing else that I could do, because that's all you can do is just give your best. And and once you give your best, then then that's all you can do. So,
yeah, Kenny, kind of reminds me of, Kenny and I preach this all the time, and it's people ask, we're bucking a trend in our industry. Why are you guys so successful and others are struggling? It's exactly that. We put the team first. No one's more important than the team. Last month we had a pivotal point where some members of the team, I don't refer to them as underwriters, salespeople, it's teammate. Everyone's teammate. We're all shoulder to shoulder. And it's something that has transformed the company, transformed us bucking the trend where everyone else is struggling, because everyone else is looking at it as offense, defense. They're not looking at we're all in this together and we're all a team and we'll win together. we put nothing before that. Kenny will tell you, last month we had a point where I said the numbers don't matter this month because you guys are messing with the team. We don't have a team. We don't have numbers. And that's the secret to our success. We give it away every day. People but try doing it. It's not always as easy as to do saying the word team and then actually delivering every day. And Kenny's been
and that acronym is a true saying. Is that acronym for team? Together, everyone achieves more.
Right.
There's no other way around it. No other way around it.
So the NFL, you had an illustrious career, and it's a business at the end of the day. And the NFL career is so short, right? Some 3-4 years, that might be the average player. As how do you hand back to these guys that are playing now and talk to them about, hey, first of all, enjoy it because it doesn't last a long time. But two, like other business of it. What do you talk to these guys about as far as the business aspect of the NFL?
Well, I tell them first of all that you guys are making a whole lot of money now. I say so, but you got to really make sure that you take care of your money. I tell those guys, I say, listen, man, you got to prepare at the beginning like it's the end because you don't know how long it's going to be. And that acronym for NFL stands for not for long.
Right.
So you better take advantage of it right now and take care of your money and keep your eye on your money and do the right things because you only get, I tell them the NFL has a revolving door. I said, nobody goes through that revolving door and stays in. It's still everlasting revolving. You're going to come out that door. So make sure that you're ready. It just so happens that you happen to come out that door before you plan on it because you don't know when you're going to come through that other side of that door coming outside. So you got to take advantage of all the opportunities that you have while you're on the inside of that door that's still ever revolving.
Interesting.
What, if your team's struggling, what was one thing that you would ask? Actually, we got a question from someone that just came in. If your team was struggling, there it is. When your team is struggling, what's one question or one statement you'd ask them to get them refocused?
I just tell them, hey, man, are you happy with what we're doing, man, with the way things are going, man? So I said, only we can change what's going on. Forget about reading your press clippings about everybody telling you how good you are or how bad you are. They have no control over what you do. You have control over what you do. So do whatever it takes that got you to this point because you're to this point for a reason because you worked your butt off and you deserve to be here. So, make sure and to do whatever it takes. And that's one of the things that I really kept me focused too, because I know that every year I knew how hard it was for me to get to that point. And I know every year there's some young and up and coming young, hungry kids would love to take your job. And I wasn't relinquishing my job that easy because I know how hard it took for me to get there. So I'm going to make sure it's not how long you stayed, what it took for you to get there. I mean, it's as long as you do whatever it takes to keep you there. So that's
Mark,
how I'm at it with the guys.
I would ask about, self-confidence. I think it's important in just about anything, believing in your mind and in your heart that you can do anything. At your Ring of Honor presentation quite a few years ago, Dan was there, Marino, and he brought up a game in Chicago in 1991. I don't know if you recall it. It was in the snow. It was in overtime. And you said to Marino, let me go deep on these guys and we'll end the game right now. And Marino said to you, are you sure? And you said, he said, are you ready to go deep? I'll end it right here. I'm going to go right into the locker room is what you told me. So it's one of the greater catches that I believe you had throughout your career. You caught the ball on your back. The ball bounced around a few times. You were sliding in the snow and caught it on your back. You placed the ball down. You didn't score, but I think it got it down to the 5-yard line. Dolphins kicked the field goal, win the game. You placed the ball down and went right to the locker room.
I did.
So, speaking to self-confidence and really believing in yourself, I mean, you said, hey, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. And you did it, and I think that, in business and in life are two very important things.
You got to have confidence because, I had the utmost confidence in my abilities in myself, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, how are you going to get anybody else to believe in you and have confidence in you? So I felt like that, it was a tough game, really. I think had we not blocked the punt in that game, we really wouldn't have had an opportunity to win that game. But I felt like that the offense has the advantage in inclement weather games. The offense knows where they're going. The defense got to guess to where you're going. So I feel like that I have an advantage. And I felt like that I could beat Donnell Wolford. He was a friend of mine, and had the Windy City wind not knocked that ball down, it would have went down just like I said. I was beating a guy. I would have scored the touchdown, and I would have ran straight through the tunnel and into the locker room. And it's funny you say that, Keith, because after that right there, because they called pass interference, but the referee said no, he called it. So then we lined the ball up, and he sent in Stojakovic and kicked the field goal. And by the time everybody had got in the locker room, I was already undressed.
Love it.
Waiting on them to come in the locker room. I was slapping the guys 5 as they came in the door.
You're the ultimate competitor, right? I've seen you in practice compete against the kicker, drop kick balls to the uprights. I've seen you go against Dan Marino, throwing the ball at the pylon.
Punting against Reggie Roby.
Reggie Roby punting against the punter. Like, I just see you do all these things where they weren't in your position, but you would compete, and you'd wager on different things because you wanted to win. Retired now, you play at the ultimate level, the highest level in NFL. But what do you do now to keep that fire going? Because it's got to be still in you. What do you do?
Well, you know what though? I'm out there swinging those golf clubs now, man. Kenny, I'm trying to get that down, but boy, that game is really humbling. It's tough out there, man. Oh my God! But I feel like I'm getting better. It's coming around. I don't think anybody's really going to get the best of their golf game out there, because that's a different beast out there on the golf course. And but I enjoy that. That's what I do right now. I try to play as much as I can play, weather permitting, but that's what I do. And my youngest kids, he's a sophomore, he's going to be a junior at Prairie View. So and my other one's a senior at Sam Houston. So I'm just trying to help them enhance their life after college and stuff, and get them on the right track. And then everything else is gravy.
Well, Mark, many people have tried to make me have a nervous breakdown or break me down, but my driver has managed to do that to me several times, so I get the stress and anxiety. But I think it's great to have a chip on your shoulder. I come to work every day knowing, I come from humble beginnings and, a single mom, and I've had a lot of, tough times growing up. And I use that as motivation. And I thought there was something you had said, and I love this, and it was, I have a lot to prove, not just to myself, but to some people who really doubted my career and doubted I still had it in me to play. So every day you come in, and some people can get down and out when people talk shit about them, right? And they're like, oh, man, I can't do it. If people can just learn, even in this industry, and anything you do, to take that and put that as gasoline into your, the engine, just to fire away. People don't understand how words sometimes beat them down. They let it. And that was a great quote that you said. And I think anyone listening to, stop letting people beat you up or saying the market is shitty. You dictate what it is. You dictate what you do today, and you did that your whole career. Here's a guy that was, drafted in the 8th round. The only, other better catch in the, in the later rounds was Tom Brady. No offense, wink, wink, boys. But I mean, you proved them all wrong. To your point, back when you got drafted, there wasn't a lot of 5'7" receivers. Everyone was taller. You weren't, the tallest guy, or might have given you the wrong height, but
give me my 5'9", man. I'm 5'7".
Sorry,
I'm almost 5'10". I'm 5'9" and a half.
I was talking about my height. Oh no, that'd be 5'5". So yeah, but there wasn't a lot of 5'9" receivers, right? Everyone was 6 foot.
That's true.
And then you come in and you took all of that. You grew up in Indiana. Not quite sure how you became a Miami Dolphins fan in Indiana. Well, I read later that you wanted to just play in the warm weather. I don't blame you.
That's true.
Basketball country, Louisville, basketball country. You go there, they're winning basketball championships, not known for football. All the odds were stacked against you, but you took that as fuel. Get drafted in the 8th round. You didn't even know you were drafted. You were, out in the park, and you came back, and the call comes in.
That's right.
all of these things that should have been, woe me, oh, I don't have a chance. You say, birds to, flip them the bird. Here you go. I got this. Not only do you get it, you crush it. And to Kenny's point, 100% should be in the Hall of Fame. There's, 3 guys in there that shouldn't even be in there, that your stats crush them, not even by a little bit, by a lot. But, those things, that the fuel that you use, that you had all these things stacked against you, and you were just like, I'm going to prove you all wrong, and I'm just going to dominate. And that's what you did. And is that what you use for fuel, all of those people that talk?
I used to tell people all the time, man, I tell the kids that when I go talk to them in school, I say, never let anyone control your destiny. You control your destiny. Don't listen to whatever they say, because they don't know what's in here. They don't know that. They can't measure what's in there. Don't let them say what you can and cannot do, because they don't know you. They don't know what you can do. They just going, just looking on the outside, looking at your physical stature and just saying that, he's this, he's that. But I never paid any attention to the outside noise, because the outside noise is just that, noise. So, and like you said, I've always used that as a motivational factor, a chip on my shoulder. And I think that it made me the player who I am, because I've always felt like I was an underdog and had a chip on my shoulder, which brought out the best in me.
That's funny you say that.
It showed. You did it with a lot of flair. And the touchdown celebrations, you were always doing something. You had a nice spike. You dunked on the goalpost. You made sure to make it very interesting and entertaining.
It was hard to get. It's hard as hell to score a touchdown in the NFL. So I was excited when I got in there. I'd get the fans something. I throw the ball up in the stands. Hey, I let them know that, hey, man, I'm happy. I crossed that goal line, man. Hey, that's what it's all about, scoring.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you know this. Bill Parcells stole one of Mark's lines. He always said, just do your job. One of his quotes back in the 80s was, "I just did my job." So Parcells should really thank you for that. Not only, I know you had a lot to say about the Flakegate. I don't blame you, but we'll let that one slide.
Yeah.
That's true. A lot of things you said, Mark, is real relatable to what we do here. Listening to the outside noise, being the underdog. Like, we came here, we had, smaller company, and we continue to grow. And a lot of people say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. The rates are this, the market's this. And then we kind of continue to, outshine them and show them that, there is a way, right? It's okay to be the underdog and prepare yourself for what's coming. And I think your career kind of likeness of what we do here. And appreciate all the information you gave us.
Hey, man, I enjoyed it, man. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate you guys, man. Thanks, Kenny. Hopefully I'll see you in July, man.
That's right. We got the golf tournament. Actually, Kevin's going to play in that golf tournament too, the Jeffrey Osborne Classic. It's going to be a good time.
I might have to have a little side bet. Who has the best score that day? I think it's the lowest round.
You probably sandbagging me and stuff right now. I'm not going to let you do that.
I thought Keith ran off to the locker room. I thought that was like a swan song. You disappeared.
A little commercial break.
Yeah, we do have one staple question we ask everyone. So I'll let Kenny ask that question. That we wrap the show up with.
The stable question of the podcast is really about defining your value, whether it's in the NFL, in your personal life, whatever it may be. So how does Mark Clayton, when he gets up in one, how do you define your value?
Well, I just define my value and just really just being just a good person. Being the guy that my mom raised me, respect everybody. Just God-fearing, man, but, just really just don't try to be any more than who you are. Just be you at all times. Have confidence in yourself. Just some of the other cliches that, you could throw out there that, the same kind of values that I'm trying to instill in my kids, that was instilled in me. If I can do that, man, I feel like that the sky's the limit for my 4 kids, and I'll be the happiest guy on earth.
Well, I think you see that. I think we've seen that over your career. I think we see that here today. You definitely succeeded with that. You're definitely an inspiration to a lot of people. I can tell you that just with doing the research for this, I was amazed about a lot of things I learned and very impressed. So your mother would be very proud. A lot of us have similar stories and similar backgrounds. So it's great to hear that, that's what's most important at the end of the day. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's about doing the right thing and being a good person. All those other things will happen if you put the hard work in like you have done over your career. So, man, thanks for being on. The only question I have, did you guys really think you guys look good with those Oakley wraparound glasses? Because everything I see, I just don't get them.
Well, you know what? I wore those. I wore those because in the Bears game in '85, I was talking so much smack to Wilbur Marshall, and I was crazy for doing it because that guy was so big and he had the bloodshot red eyes, man. And Nat Moore was kicking his butt, and he didn't like me telling him that on the field, so he was chasing me around. I had to keep my head on the swivel then because that guy was just at all costs trying to just get his hands on me. So in one of those plays in the game, I juked a couple of guys, and I thought I was getting ready to score on that play right there. But then here comes Wilbur Marshall out of nowhere, and he comes and he reaches inside my helmet and he scratches my eye. So that's where the goggles came from. And I thought they looked pretty sporty out there, wearing the goggles. So Coach Shula didn't mind me putting the goggles on. He said, as long as you're catching the passes, I don't care what you put on. So,
well, for the July golf tournament, maybe I'll bust out a pair of goggles of my own just to give you guys a chance.
Hey, well, as long as you got a patch over one of the eyes, then we've got a chance then.
Well, thank you so much, Keith. Thanks. I know this was a dream come true for you, Keith. He's got your card up there. You can't see it next to his Marino card up there.
There it is. He's up there. He's right next to Danny.
Yeah. By the way, the last question. The hottest pass, I heard the hottest pass you had to catch was you were more worried about the pass he threw at his Hall of Fame induction when he threw you the ball. You didn't want to drop it and embarrass yourself at the Hall of Fame for Marino. True?
No question, man. That was a lot of pressure, man. I hadn't caught a pass in years. So when he called me out and said, Clayton, go deep, and I started not to get up, and then my wife kind of nudged me in my side. She said, get your ass up. You're going to catch that pass. And I was like, wow, and I had to get up because, like I said, I hadn't caught a pass in years. So I'm just glad everything worked out, man. That was a great day for Danny and myself as well.
Well, as always, thanks for everyone tuning in. I hope you picked up some lessons from one of the NFL all-time greats. I mean, business, anything, athletics, business, personal life, if you put the time and effort in and you really have the passion to do it, it will all work out in the end. And you're a great example of that, Mark. Thanks for sharing some of your secret sauce with our viewers. No matter what you're doing, you apply these principles, you do these things, you live with those type of values that you do. Good things will happen. So keep your head down, work hard, and listen, take the negative as fuel to create the positive. So thanks again, everyone. Check us out. As always, you can reach Kenny at epm.net, myself at Kevin at epm.net, Keith at krussell at epm.net. I would ask you to follow Mark on Twitter, on his Facebook. Check this guy out. We'll have some updates on the scores in July after this golf outing. I can guarantee you I'm no ringer. I probably will end up in last place, if not first.
You might be on the same team. You never know.
That's right.
But thanks again, as always, guys. So check us out in the Power Brokers community and Facebook. Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate it, guys. And that's the whole perspective.
Thank you.
Take care, Mark.
Bingo, bango, boom.